So this is one of those topics that people don't talk about, and today I want to address it. How do you open a business bank account with bad credit? Don't go anywhere. Welcome, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sort of Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous if you're to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk specifically to business owners who don't have a good credit history or good credit score, but want to open a business checking account or savings account for that matter. If you have had bad credit in the past or you still have bad credit, you can still open a business checking account. That's for sure. Your credit score and previous banking history influence whether you are approved for a business checking account or a savings account. And there's a company called ChexSystems, and you really have to remember this name very, very clearly because it is a reporting agency that scores consumers on how they manage their checking and deposit accounts. And business owners with poor credit have options when it comes to opening a business checking account, but you have to do a few things. If you are launching a new business and need to open a bank account, you may wonder how a poor credit score will affect the process or if you are even able to open an account in the first place. So please listen carefully because I'm going to share with you a few gems, a few tricks when it comes to opening that kind of a business bank account. Number one, I want you to remember that your credit affects your ability to open a business bank account. A lot of folks are saying, well, your credit only impacts your ability to get a loan, to get a business loan. It's true, but it's more than that. It also affects your ability to get a business bank account, whether it is checking or savings account. Because banks wants to know how you manage your finances before they give you an account. Banks are in the business of risk management, right? Banks want to see the payment history on your credit cards and loans because paying late or missing payments hurts your ability to secure a business bank account. Banks are seeing you as a high risk. You may not be asking the bank for a loan, but in their eyes, you still pose a potential risk. So when a bank considers you for a business bank account, it follows three important steps. Number one, the bank will check your business's credit. And then it will evaluate your personal credit. And then it may place restrictions on your account based on the results of those two credits, your personal and your businesses. So banks, when it comes to your business's credit, banks will do their due diligence. They want to confirm your previous banking and credit histories, and they can do so in several ways. And ChexSystems is just one way. And so if you had problems with another bank, what you want to do is you want to address those issues before opening a new bank account. Very important. Speaking about restrictions, so let's say the bank just runs your credits personally and business-wise, and they realize you have issues, right? It may place restrictions on your account. So if you have poor personal credit and you attempt to open a business account as a single member LLC or sole proprietor or a C Corp, you may not get really far because the poor credit score could limit other business banking activities. Let me give you an example. You may not qualify for some of the credit-based services such as account overdraft protection, an overdraft line of credit, or business credit cards for that matter, or even business loans, right? And though it's fairly easy to open a basic business bank account with weak credit, applying for commercial credit lines based on a poor personal credit history is difficult. Something that you need to think about. And you need to understand what ChexSystems is. Now, this is a reporting agency, as I said earlier. It is a banking reporting agency. Think of it as the equivalent of Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion on the banking side. Because what the company does is collecting information about your previous problems with deposit accounts including checking and savings accounts. And the agency maintains the check system, that is, maintains a report of your banking activity, which banks and credit unions can utilize to determine whether to approve your application for a new checking or savings account. And one thing I want to say here is that ChexSystem, they actually assign consumers a score which ranges from 100 to 899 based on a series of activities. So for example, the agency evaluates all current and past accounts and looks for overdraft accounts, unpaid bank fees, and bounced or fraudulent written checks. Okay, so the higher your score, the less of a risk the banks consider you to be. And if your score is low, the bank will deem you a higher risk and will reject your application. And so how does a ChexSystems report work? They keep track of a lot of things. So here are a handful of examples of items that you may find on your ChexSystems report. So you have involuntary account closure, bounce checks and overdrafts, unpaid negative balances, accounts, card or ATM abuse, suspected fraud or identity theft, number of accounts applied for recently. It is important to understand the constellation of criteria the banks look at, because whenever you apply for a new checking or savings accounts, the bank or credit union will check your ChexSystems report to determine whether an approval is warranted. And if your report shows anything that causes the financial institution to view you as, let's say, a risky consumer, it may just deny you outright a bank account. And so how do you get a copy of your ChexSystems reports? Now, we are very lucky in the United States. We have a law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And the FCRA makes it possible for consumers to access their ChexSystems report once every 12 months for free. You can also get a free copy if you have been denied a checking or a savings account in the past 60 days. Also, note that if you have been denied a bank account, the bank or credit union is also required to disclose the reason or reasons for the denial. So there are 4 ways you can request a copy of your ChexSystems report. You can do so online through the Consumer Reporting Agency's website. We already showed this to you before. You can see again. It's basically www.chexsystems.com. You can do so over the phone by calling 1-800-428-9623. You can actually download and fax a request form to 602-659-2197, or you can download and mail a request form to ChexSystems Incorporated, Attention Consumer Relations, 7805 Hudson Road, Suite 100. They are in Woodbury, Minnesota 55125. After the agency receives your request, you should get a copy of your report in the mail within the next 5 business days. So requesting one online or via phone will give you the fastest response time. And if you want to check, so once you have the report, you can clean it. Okay, you can actually, you can check for negative items. So legitimate information will typically stay on your report for 5 years, which can make it challenging to get approved for a bank account. So depending on the situation, there may be some opportunities actually to clean up your ChexSystems report. There are a lot of companies on the internet that offer that kind of service. You may just do a simple Google search to find out. And one thing I want to say to kind of close this section here is that your ChexSystems report has no direct impact on your credit score. However, if you have been denied a checking or savings account and have a ding on your ChexSystems report, this may be a sign that you have had difficulties in the past that may also have an impact on your credit history. But the correlation stops there. There is no direct correlation. Actually, we can't say there is a correlation. There's more of an interrelationship, if you will, but no correlation, no direct correlation. Okay, so if you're concerned about your credit history, it's a good idea to check your credit regularly. You can go with to Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. There is a website called annualcreditreport.com. So once a year, you are allowed to receive a free copy of your credit report according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks. We are still having a conversation about how to open a business bank account with bad credit. Now, I'm going to show you step by step how you can open such an account if you have a bad credit. First, you need to actually, one thing I want to say here is that a bad ChexSystems score is bad, but it doesn't entirely prevent you from getting a business checking account. And I'm going to show you 5 steps you can follow today to actually open a business bank account if you have poor credit. First things first, you want to form a relationship with the bank. So you want to actually, this is why you want to go with a local bank. You want to walk into a bank in a brick and mortar bank and talk to a bank representative, like a live person. You want them to understand who you are, to understand your business, the kind of business you do, because the thing here is that you want to have access to a personal banker, because this kind of bankers can assist you with these types of issues because they understand your business more. They have talked to you. They can actually look at the personal aspect of the situation, and they might be able to, I would say, actually convince the account opening department to allow you to have a business bank account. So form a relationship with the bank at the local level. Do not try to open a bank on the internet, an online business bank account. Your chances are kind of slim. So number 1, form a relationship with the bank. Number 2, you want to clean up your ChexSystems report. As I said earlier, you can do it yourself, or you can actually outsource the task to another company. You want to request your free ChexSystem report. Again, you are entitled to one annually. You'll be able to see why you were turned down, enabling you to identify areas that need improvement. You want to read your ChexSystem reports to see if errors exist. If you find an error, you want to dispute it directly with ChexSystems. I've given you the 4 ways you can reach them: over the phone, online, through fax, and also via mail. Okay, this is important to understand. And the process actually can take up to 30 days, but it could result in the item being removed and your score improving. It's also important to clear outstanding bank fees or debts that are hurting your ChexSystems score. That will boost your score also. So once you resolve any outstanding debts, you want to ask the financial institutions that reported you to update their reports, and this will speed up the process. You also want to think about forming an LLC. Instead of being a sole proprietor, it's better to actually have a legal structure. You can form a single member LLC. You can have an S Corp or a C Corp. Whatever you do, try to set up a business and trying to get a tax identification number, right? So you get an EIN. The idea here is to distinguish yourself from the business entity. That way, your personal credit issues will not have an impact on the business. Another thing you can do actually is to consider a credit union. This sort of is similar to what I said earlier about forming a relationship with a local bank. Same thing. So rather than applying at a big bank, you want to search for a local credit union. So the personalized service and attention to individual business situations can make a little difference, and it could actually make life a little easier for your business. So when you are new, and especially if your credit is not stellar, larger banks are more likely to hold deposits and make you pay higher fees. And this is bad news for cash-strapped new businesses. So holding deposits on a small business, even for just 2 days, can cause major cash flow problems. But if you go to a local credit union, you might form a relationship there and find that they will be more willing to work with you. You also want to apply with a bank that does not use ChexSystems. Yes, there are actually a handful of banks in the United States that do not run a ChexSystems report when considering you for a business checking account. And there are also local banks that may not consult with ChexSystems at all. So this is not a national reporting agency actually. And I'm going to give you right now a few banks, a few institutions that do not report anything to ChexSystems. So you have BBVA. So this company was formerly called a BBVA Compacts. They don't use ChexSystems, but they do use early warning services, and This checking account is available in all states except Alaska and Hawaii. So we're showing you right now. So this is BBVA USA. You also have Chime. And with Chime, a bad credit score is no longer a deal breaker. And they offer an award-winning mobile bank account and debit card with no credit check. So that's for Chime. And you also have the Acorns Spend checking account. This is actually the best of both worlds in our view, because it is a flexible online checking account, and it also provides Acorns core investing functionality. You also have Navy Federal Credit Union. So to qualify for a Navy Federal Credit Union membership, you must be an active duty or retired member of the military, which includes the Armed Forces, National Guard, the Coast Guard, and the Department of Defense. You may also want to think about SunTrust Bank. So when it comes to banks that don't use ChexSystems, different people have had different experiences with SunTrust. The bank states that it does not use the system to screen applicants, but in our analysis, some consumers claim they do. So it really depends. You want to try it out and see. You can also try out TD Ameritrade. So they offer a brokerage account with a comprehensive cash management offering. So as a client, you get unlimited check writing. So once you open the brokerage account for your business, you can complete the checking account application online. One thing I also want to tell you folks is that you need to know your options, and you need to know you have options. Okay, you have options. And before I get into the options here, you need to know the difference between non-ChexSystems and second chance banking accounts. So banks and credit unions that don't use ChexSystems and second chance checking accounts generally have quite a bit in common. The main difference here is that second chance banks may still use ChexSystems, but they are willing to give you a second chance anyway. Okay. And so similar to non-ChexSystems banks, second chance bank accounts usually have either a low balance requirements or none at all. And nonetheless, with a second chance checking account, you will most likely have to pay a monthly maintenance fee. And so the best second chance business checking accounts still have some of the same features and benefits as ChexSystems banks and credit unions, such as they have overdraft protection, online banking, and bill pay. With both accounts, you should also be able to upgrade to a standard checking account once you have a positive banking history. So now let me just kind of talk to you about the options that I think you have based on our research. Here are other alternatives to banking without ChexSystems. So if you still cannot qualify for one of the accounts I have talked to you about, or you prefer to explore other options, you do have some choices. And so here are the top alternatives to banking without ChexSystems, along with the pros and cons of each choice. So you have second chance checking. I already said that before. So a bank or credit union will offer a second chance checking account to business owners and consumers who have a bad banking history. So these accounts are sometimes called fresh start checking or opportunity checking. And there are even some big banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America who offer second chance banking. It's pretty cool. You have prepaid debit cards. So a prepaid debit card acts very similarly to a regular debit card. The difference is that you usually do have to pay a monthly fee of a few dollars, right? And each prepaid debit card has different ways to upload money, but usually you can do it at a major retail store like Walmart or online. And there may be additional fees when you load money. You also got to think about the options of secured credit cards. So this cards can help you get a card. With this card, you can make purchases online and in store, but they don't come with perks only. They have major drawbacks. So you need to use your own cash as collateral against the account. Plus, you will still pay interest on any credit card balances you don't pay in full, right? And these cards are generally used to improve your credit score. You can also think about online services such as PayPal, and they offer e-wallet services that let you store your cash and pay online. You may even be able to qualify for a debit card. And unlike traditional banks, however, your funds may not be FDIC insured, so you want to do some research before making a decision. And you might also want to think about foreign bank accounts. It really depends on you, right? If you live near the Canadian or Mexican border, you can consider opening a bank account in another country. This may sound a little extreme, but guess what? Foreign banks may have different approval requirements you could benefit from. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I was talking to you about how to open a business bank account with bad credit. And first, I explained to you that your credit affects your ability to open a business bank account. I also explained to you that you need to understand what ChexSystems is. You need to learn how to open a business bank account strategically. And last but not the least, I just explained to you also that you need to know you have options. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.